Hello. Today's topic is about the best time to focus, to work creatively, and to do routine tasks. And interestingly, depending on your chronotype, which is whether you're a morning person or an evening person, can affect when to do the right task. So the sleep genes are some of the oldest that are known to exist, and we share the same genes with creatures such as worms and insects. And our chronotype, so whether we are that morning person or a night owl, is coded by our genes. But did you know that the type of task you do is better suited at different times of the day, depending on which of these chronotypes you are? Now, if you haven't worked out which one you are, then go and have a look at the videos in Genes, Menopause and Me, because that was the topic of the last Facebook Live and how to work out what your chronotype might be. So if you've established that you're a morning person, then around about an hour or so after you wake up, you're going to reach peak focus. And that's where we're able to pay attention to detail and not get easily distracted. It's also where we can feel like we get a lot of work done that requires that attention and that focus. And this can last until around about midday. Between midday and 4, we lose focus, and our tasks are better suited to routine jobs like checking emails or doing things that we do on automatic. Between 4 and bedtime is where we regain some focus again, but we have a bit of brain wandering that tends to happen. So we don't have quite the intense focus of the morning time, but enough focus to get tasks done. And what happens with this little less gating that we have in the evening is that we allow creative thoughts to occur. And so this is really our peak creative time if you're a morning person. But what happens if you're a night owl? Well, interesting, the night owl is the opposite. So then the focus and creativity of a night owl are in the morning on waking. And remember that waking time for a night owl can be 10 or even 11 a.m. So that's when that creative part of the routine is best served. When it comes to the afternoon again, that group similarly loses focus. And interestingly, this occurs for most of the population around the world, is that focus is lost in the afternoon. And most car accidents happen around 2 o'clock, no matter where you are in the world. So time to pay that little bit more attention, because you're typically not paying as much attention then. But more importantly, most people, I didn't finish off. The night owl's most logic and attention to detail time is that time period between 4 p.m. and bedtime, which for them could be 2 a.m. in the morning. So you might hear sometimes that writers in particular might do their best work when everyone's asleep and late at night. And that's because attention to detail, if they're a night owl, happens there more naturally. So the important thing to note here is that most people are morning people. So the genetics are such that it's weighted against most people being morning and very few being night owls. So how do you think that's going to impact you in that afternoon time slot? Well, ideally, if you want to have a meeting or do something important with a group of people or have a job interview or anything like that, and you're a morning type, the morning time is when you're going to be most focused, but also when the majority of people you're dealing with are going to be most focused. So sitting exams or doing anything important in the afternoon is probably not ideal if you can get around that. So most people are morning people genetically, and there are a few that are night owls, and the afternoon time is the time when the majority of the population in the world have their least focused time. So try not to do things that require that focus in the afternoon. All right, so have you ever thought about your genes as playing a role in when you should do your daily tasks to be more productive? Morning people, productivity happens in the morning. Night owls, productivity happens before bed. Creativity for morning people is in that time before bed, and creativity for night owls is in the morning. So maybe start to plan your tasks according to what chronotype you are. And if you want to know more about this interesting information came out of a book by Daniel Pink called When. So you can go and look at a little bit more detail about when productivity is best served. So what could you do to suit your chronotype? How could you change and restructure your day? If you've noticed this or have some ideas, we'd love to hear about it in the chat. Thank you. See ya.